Where can we find you, mate?
Mate, you can find me... I didn't want to say it on the podcast, but this is basically where I'm going to announce it. I'm returning to YouTube.
Ooh!
The return of Adrian Ethan Gray is online. Bloody hell.
So the clip you just heard is actually from a very recently uploaded episode of a new podcast that I'm taking part in. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make promises that I will be returning to YouTube. I never will make these promises to you because of the amount of times I've tried that and it's never stuck. For what it's worth, I am sorry that I've been absent so much with very little warning and for so long periods of time. But I am sort of back. Now, allow me to explain the sort of. Obviously, as you saw, I now basically help run a podcast. There's 3 of us that run it. 2 of us put in a lot of work. The other one, even though he said he wasn't going to be a part of it as much, he does a lot of work too. And this is something that I've been doing with my 2 closest friends that I've ever had in my whole life. And it's something we're very proud of, even though it's only just started, and something we are going to put a lot of work and time into. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go to it from my channel. But if you find the time and you're looking for something that's a little more informational and kind of funny, because we do throw a lot of banter. Shut up, computer. We do throw a lot of banter between each other. I would recommend you at least give the first episode of this a listen, where we literally introduce ourselves, and maybe the second one where we have my mate's wife on as well, and that's pretty much all I'd recommend. If you love it and you want to keep listening to it, yep, that's fine. I will have a link in the description to the Spotify page for it, as well as its own YouTube channel, which I also run. Now, where does that leave this channel? Because I literally did say on a podcast that I'm coming back to YouTube. Obviously, there's other things. I now work 2 jobs. I rarely get time. Finding the time to make videos is not something that I'm going to have the luxury of. And considering the last few years, you can take that as you will. But I will say my fight with depression is over. To the point I'm confident that I've beaten it. I'm obviously still going to have rough days where I'm not going to want to do it on my day off. And that's just something that I'm just going to have to put up with for the rest of my life. And I'm ready to accept that. And obviously, because of the fact that you see in the background footage of Dead by Daylight, you can assume that I have returned to Dead by Daylight as well. I've been on and off it for years. Last 2 years are very prevalent for it. But because of how much time I put into it beforehand, it's very difficult for me to just give it up. There is probably going to be a day where I will officially completely give it up and never look at it again and not even want to touch it. That day has not yet come. And that's pretty much it. So what is the content that's going to be on this channel moving forward? I haven't really gotten to that point yet. I haven't really planned content for this channel, like, properly. What I am thinking of doing is a tier list type from now on towards Dead by Daylight and maybe other games. Like, you're probably about to see the transition, but I do also play, at the moment, a lot of Bloons Tower Defense 6, which is a really nice, casual game that I can even play on my phone. Not sponsored. I love it. It's been out since 2018. We're hitting it 4 years for it. There's also a bunch of other things that I love to play. Phasmophobia is still up in there. And Minecraft 7 Days to Die is still some things that I do come back to from time to time, but they're not something that I'm currently in the mood for. It's very difficult to describe. Now, as for myself, because of the amount of times I've taken breaks, I don't want to make this promise to you that I'll be staying. And I don't want to make the promise that I will be consistent. There is no promise. Whether you choose to stay or not is really up to you. Whether you choose to watch my content is up to you. It always has been, and I've never forced anyone to do it. But if you do take the time of day to watch my content, and you really do enjoy it, and you do show your friends, like, I'm not even going to ask you to do that either, but if you do that little kind gesture for someone who's been doing YouTube since I don't even remember when I started this channel, and I never got far, I just want you to know that I appreciate you, and I hope you continue to stick around. Now, enough of the sappy shit. I'm not going to be doing content video. This is mostly just I'm back, this is what's happening, this is what has happened, and this is what you should have your expectations set to. And with them being set so low, I think that that's rather fair. And I am sorry that I've managed to always leave without notice and never stick to the promise of coming back and staying back. That's why I'm not going to promise you that I will be back for good. But I'm pretty sure if I was to stop making content for this channel one more time after so long, there's a very high chance that this channel will probably be deleted. Which would be a shame, but it is the reality that we face. And that's pretty much all I've got. So it all comes back to how my own personal life goes, because YouTube is not the forefront. It's not my main thing. It doesn't pay my bills, it doesn't give me food, it doesn't keep a roof over my head. That is what my jobs are for, and the podcast is something I have a high passion for. And this channel, even though it used to be my main passion, I can no longer do it. And that's pretty much all I've got for you. And FYI, you're not getting a webcam, ever. I'm past the point of using webcams. I do not like them. I've never really liked them. That's a fun fact. I've always hated using them. I've always hated them. And the only reason I'd use one nowadays is if I was to do like a live recording of the studio that we do the podcast in. And that's it. And that would go straight to that podcast's YouTube channel. And that's all I got for you. So, until the next video that's uploaded, whenever that is, it'll probably be a tier list. I have an idea of what one I want to do for the first one for Dead by Daylight. And it's probably something that a lot of people have done, and what I think can be very jarring. Anyway, I hope you all are having a fantastic day. And I hope you continue to do so after listening to this and listening to just a beaten man just admit his faults. And I hope to see you in the next video. Take care, guys.